We got beef. Of course, Charles Barkley last week sent the sports word into a tither. Bet Stephen A. Smith has something to say about that.
Are you kidding me? But when it comes to me, I need to be careful.
Charles Barkley telling Stephen A. Smith, look, stop being on TV all the time.
I don't want to be on TV more. I want to be on TV less.
I don't think that's the Stephen A. Smith method. I like the response. You can be friends, and you can disagree. You know, one of the great things about our little show here is we make news damn near every day. Yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, hell, I got brain fog. Tommy Tuberville made news. Kevin Harlan yesterday. Of course, Charles Barkley last week sent the sports word into a tither. And Charles Barkley telling Stephen A. Smith, look, stop being on TV all the time. I actually thought when Charles said that, I thought, I'll bet Stephen A. Smith has something to say about that. And lo and behold, Stephen A. Smith has something to say about that. You know, when we do this show, people come to this show, people report from this show because people know we do it from a place of honesty. And I have a great team behind me, and we get fantastic guests. Stephen A. Smith didn't like one of those guests. He's the head gas bag over at ESPN. He called out Charles for being a hypocrite. What? Over his overexposure comment on our show. Stephen A. is rattled. Let's revisit what Sir Charles said on our show before we return to Stephen A. Smith's rebuttal. Here's Sir Charles with me last week.
That's my number one thing. People will get sick on you. So I don't want to be on TV more. I want to be on TV less.
I don't think that's the Stephen A. Smith method right now. I don't think that's his mentality, Charles.
Listen, that's not. As a matter of fact, I was in the studio last night, and I see he's going to be on Law and Order tonight. I mean, he's already on General Hospital. He's already on General Hospital. Now he's going to be on Law and Order tonight. And I was just laughing. I'm like, yo, man, you're starting to be too much right now. Like, you're going to be on CNN, you're going to be on Fox and Friends, now you're on General Hospital, now you're on Law and Order. I'm like, yo, man, knock it off. Stop being on every TV show. Because at some point, people are going to regret. They're going to get sick of you, and you're going to be like, yeah, I probably did too much. But once you do too much, it's too late. And then people don't take you serious. And I think he's got to be careful in that aspect.
Stephen A. Smith, of course, wasn't standing there taking it. Boom, boom, shots to the head. He wasn't taking it. He called Charles a hypocrite, as Stephen A. Smith on his own show.
It's my guy. That doesn't mean I always agree with him. And it doesn't mean that I'm devoid of the right to call him a flaming hypocrite when it's called upon. Do y'all have any idea how many commercials Charles Barkley does a year? He'll tell us 2. Have you seen Charles Barkley in 2 commercials? Are you kidding me? Oh, by the way, the cat that you work with at least twice a week during the NBA season is Shaquille O'Neal. Can we count the amount of endorsements he has? How often he's seen everywhere? What new product he's pitching? Did you say that about him? No, you didn't. But when it comes to me, I need to be careful. Oh, by the way, Dan Dakich, slickly brings up, me with politics and all of this other stuff. Wasn't it Charles Barkley who made news for years talking about his aspiration to run for the governor of Alabama?
Yeah, I mean, I did. I am slick. I slickly did that. No, I didn't slickly do that. We were having a chat, 2 guys, like at the end of the bar, talking about what's going on. I am slick, and in honor of being called slickly, I shaved my head. Look, I didn't talk about Shaq because the conversation wasn't about Shaq. I didn't talk about Charles's aspirations back in 1998 or wherever it was because the conversation wasn't about that. We stay modern on this show. We stay up to date on this show. We're America's most up-to-date show. We talk about what's going on right now with a bunch of humor, of course, a bunch of sarcasm, and we will use the history, but it wasn't time to talk about the past. It was talking about right now what's going on. I am one of the great interviewers, if not the greatest interviewer in the history of streaming/radio, and we got a lot out of Charles right there. Now, to Stephen A. Smith's point, I will give him, you can be friends, and you can disagree, and I think that's good. I think the way Stephen A. Smith handled that was really good. I do. He called him a flaming hypocrite because he was defending himself. Doesn't mean when Charles and Stephen A. Smith see one another, they're going to be angry at one another. I mean that at all. I mean, we are adult males with the great American penis. It does not matter. You get angry with somebody, then you say, you want to have a beer? Yeah, let's go. You want to go hang out? Yeah, let's go. I mean, this isn't 2019 or 2020 where every little girl on Twitter got offended and every little guy couldn't wait to cancel whoever offended the little girl. These are adult men that are going to disagree. Yeah, they're buddies. Both of them said the same thing. Hey, that's my guy. People act like because you disagree, and Barkley obviously disagreed with Stephen A. Smith, and Stephen A. Smith obviously disagreed with Barkley. People act like you're supposed to hate each other. I got all these people, oh, man, they hate each other. They're dudes. See, dudes hang out. Dudes argue. Dudes get mad. Dudes call each other out. It's what you do. Man, this isn't 2019 or 20 or 21 when every little girl got offended. And I've been debased, like this one professor told me, because I wouldn't go at it with her in a pool. I've been debased. Shut up. Oh, man. Here is Stephen A. Smith's comments about the oversaturation of Stephen A. Smith.
Because I'm not the one with commercials everywhere. I'm working. Fox and Friends know that involves early mornings. That's a rare appearance. That almost never happens. That's not accurate. ESPN is the worldwide leader. They have a multitude of outlets. Plus, they put me on their .com sites. Outside of that, you see me occasionally on Sean Hannity, occasionally. You see me pretty much weekly on Chris Cuomo's show on News Nation. He's a friend, and he asked me to come on, and I come on. Where else have I been seen? Can we really get to the heart of the matter? And this isn't directed at Charles Barkley. This is directed at all the folks out there. I'm making people very uncomfortable. And I don't give a shit. You can sit there and talk about people not taking me seriously all you want to. We'll see. Because I'm a serious brother.
I'm going to start using that as my mantra because I am a brother. I have a brother. His name is Tom. I have a sister. Her name is Jackie. I'm a serious brother. We stand on business around here. I don't think Stephen A. Smith's making anybody uncomfortable. I don't. I think guys think they are. I think people think they're making people uncomfortable. I don't know who it would be that Stephen A. Smith is making uncomfortable. I kind of enjoy the foray from ESPN into politics, which is one of the main reasons, if not the main reasons, I left ESPN. I'm not critical at all of Stephen A. Smith for that. But as a serious brother, I must say, I like the response. I like the fact that he told you what he did instead of just name-calling and yelling and screaming and all the stuff that Stephen A. Smith does. I like the fact that he was serious, obviously took to heart what Charles had said on our show, and then gave a response. None of that Stephen A. Smith stuff where he's just yelling and screaming and then you just turn that crap off and go, yeah, that's stick. No, he told you what show he's on, where he's at, and what he did. It's pretty good. Here's Stephen A. Smith responding even more about his desire to do or not do politics.
And let me do what I do. I have no desire to run for office. I have no desire to be a politician. I love talking about politics. I love talking about giving social commentary on social issues. And I love talking about sports. And if that somehow, some way translates into me being in the mix and people talking to me about a potential political position, so be it. It's not where my interest lies. But I don't rule it out because I believe I could win.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I would assume that anybody that ever ran thinks that they could win. It costs a lot of money, and it's a pain in the ass to run for a political office, and I would assume that everybody thinks they could win. Yeah, I don't know what office he's talking about, and I would be very, very careful were I you, because the list is long of people that said Donald Trump could not be president. It's long. I mean, George Clooney comes to the top of my head, Pelosi, all those folks, and he did. So before you discount Stephen A. Smith, just remember a little bit of history. And don't let history put you all of a sudden on a roll that said, wow, there's no way Stephen A. Smith could be president. Next thing you know, he's president. I don't know whether Stephen A. Smith wants to run for office. I don't know. And I don't really care. If he does, great. If he doesn't, great. But I do know this. I like that version of Stephen A. Smith. I'll listen to that version of Stephen A. Smith. I'm not listening to all the crap when he starts talking about basketball. He doesn't know his ass from third base. But when you, what's the right word? When you slowly, obviously informed, I mean, it's his life, explain your side, I think it's great. You know, so many guys, oh, you're an idiot, Dakich. That's what are you talking about? No, I ain't mad at Stephen A. Smith. I ain't mad at Charles Barkley. That's why this show's the best in America. It's becoming not only the most popular, but the most important. Somebody will drag something out of this show today nationally. I don't know any other streaming show that they do that. Maybe Smith's. I don't know. Anyway, that's my take. Good for Charles for coming on the show. The bigger issue with Charles is, of course, whether or not he's going to come to Indianapolis and play golf and get his ass whooped by me. He texted me the other day, I'm going to come and whoop your ass. My ass is still here. Playoffs are still ongoing as Boston beat the dog out of the Knicks last night. Now everybody's yapping. It's 3-2. Got to go back to Boston, right? That's the bigger issue with Barkley. And I don't think that was a beef between Stephen A. Smith and Barkley. That was just two guys, one with one side, the other with the other side, having a conversation through me. Which all great conversation. I'm Al Haig. I'm in charge here. Anyway, it's an old reference. Enjoying the show? Of course you are. Make sure you head on over to youtube.com/@OutKick/videos to like, comment, and subscribe. That way you'll never miss any of the action. I got to tell you, with our show, all you got to do is go to Twitter right after the show or within an hour after the show, and you won't miss any of the action. We play hurt on this show, damn it. All right. I was supposed to be on with Laura Ingraham yesterday, but I think my stance on Nike scared him away. I think my stance on Nike scared him away to the point where I called Nike, and the experiments on children that they are funding, Joseph Mengele type. Well, I don't like experimenting on kids. Remember, I am the kid or the guy that couldn't watch The Wizard of Oz till I was like 40 because I can't stand watching shows where I perceive children to get hurt. Can't do it. Ran a basketball camp in Northwest Indiana. Some say it's the greatest basketball camp ever. Never raised it. I raised the price one time in 24 years. I don't like seeing kids get hurt. I don't like what's going on with our LGBT, particularly the T community, trying to transition kids when they're very young and they don't know whether they shit or went blind. No, I don't like any of it. And Nike is in turmoil. Here at OutKick, we plan to keep stepping on their throat until they answer for their transgressions. That's right. We're going to stand on business, Nike, until you answer for your Mengele-like study that you are funding or allegedly are funding. A recent article in Forbes highlighted major executive shakeups are underway as a result of underperformance and controversy regarding supporting transgender athletes at the company. I mean, Nike was at the forefront of supporting real male athletes. Now Nike is at the forefront of supporting fake women athletes, i.e. transgender athletes. And I'll say this again. I don't want to hear how Dakich is, he is a homophobe, a transphobe. No, I think transgender athletes should compete. I think they all should compete against the men. They all should be given an opportunity against the men. Why is it? How many times have you heard this? I know Nick and everybody else is sitting there going, God, will you just shut up with it? Because I hear it all the time. But I want to be inclusive, not exclusive. I don't understand why all transgender athletes, boy to girl, girl to boy, participate against women. I'll never understand. Just go participate against men, see how that works out. Most recently, there are questions surrounding Nike's treatment of WNBA superstar Caitlin Clark. The company prioritized the introduction of fellow WNBA star A'ja Wilson's signature shoe over the release of the potentially even bigger Clark sneaker, though Clark has publicly expressed no dissatisfaction with her Nike sponsorship. Well, she's making about $28 million from Nike and about peanuts, 10 cents on the dollar with her WNBA contract. She better be nice to Nike. Nike people are vindictive. I remember one time I used to get paid by Nike. I did. I'd get paid by them when I was a coach, taking on trips, and then later on they kept me on their executive, basically go to, you got like $5,000 in free gear, go to the catalog, order it. One time on ESPN, I talked about what crappy uniform Syracuse had. I got a call from the guy in charge of basketball, the Big E. Dan, we made those uniforms. We don't appreciate it. I said, we'll make better ones. I said, those are the ugliest goddamn uniforms I have ever seen. They got pissed. I don't know where the Big E is now, but he probably isn't there because the Big E, who ran basketball for Nike, had sensibilities, was smart, wasn't tied up in all the woke bullshit. Just didn't like his company being disparaged by a guy that they're paying. I don't blame him. What would I care? Nike is still ignoring Caitlin Clark and destroying shareholder value, wrote sports podcaster Ethan Strauss under his House of Strauss handle. They won't sell Clark, at least just yet, apparently to appease Wilson. Why would you give a rat's ass about A'ja Wilson? Why? I mean, damn. Everybody and their mother knows that Caitlin Clark's got the goods in the WNBA and in women's basketball. I know why you're worried about A'ja Wilson, because A'ja Wilson will say you're racist. Nike, I tell you this, I'd rather be called racist than Joseph Mengele. Think about that just for a second. You're going to be, in this world, you're going to be called racist no matter what you do. It doesn't matter. If you say Caitlin Clark is the best player I've seen, that's racist. If you say I support Caitlin Clark and I'm going to wear an Iowa 22 or a Fever 22 jersey to a game, you'll be called racist. That's just the world that we live in. And, you know, being called racist used to mean something. Now it doesn't mean nothing. In fact, there's Caitlin Clark right there on my TV swinging a golf club, sitting in a chair in a Fever jersey. Hopefully, and I think she's there, Caitlin Clark will get big enough that she won't have to wear her Fever jersey, that people will just know who she is. I don't know if that's actually going to happen in commercials, but hopefully it does for her. Seems like a nice girl. Anyway, that's my take. Perhaps this is why Nike has remained largely silent. After OutKick and the New York Times Magazine revealed it provided funds to Boston Children's Hospital and researchers Catherine Ackerman, a BCH attending physician and associate professor at Harvard Medical School, and Joanna Harper to study the physiological impact of gender-affirming care on athletic performance. While OutKick reported an unnamed Nike executive said the study was never initialized and is not moving forward, the Boston Children's Hospital Magazine winter 2024 issue revealed such a study, supported in part by Nike. It was in a process to fill a critical gap and inform future policy decisions. How about that? Nike decided, you know what, we're going to fund a study that, according to our friend Jennifer Say, damages boys to the point where now they can compete against women. That's what this study is about. And Jennifer Say said it very adroitly, very clearly. Girls are not damaged boys. It's ridiculous. It's asinine. It's evil to go about the business of doing anything other than loving and encouraging a child. Kid comes home, hey, my teacher said I'm a boy. Yeah, Laura, you're not. Go play. Kid comes home, says, yo, Dad, I think I'm a girl. No, you're not. Go play. Now, you're 18, you want to figure it out. You're 21, you want to figure it out. Go fight, win. But I don't want to hear about it when you're 8 years old, and that's what these studies are doing. 8, 10 years old, you people are evil. Transhousing by proxy, hurting your daughter, your son, and making them trans to make you look cool, you look better. It's sick. It's a cousin of Munchausen by proxy, which is actually hurting your anyone, son or daughter, so that you look good. You look like the victor coming in to save you. People are sick. Stop it. Leave kids alone, jackasses. Hey, Daddy, I think I'm a girl. No, you're a boy. Go play. Shut up. Pat McAfee, is he being put on ice? Lots going on at ESPN. I'm telling you, Pat's the greatest talent they got, and Pat wants to do what Pat wants to do, and I don't blame him. I mean, let's be honest, but here's also, as I told Bob Knight back in the day, and I would certainly tell Pat, them bosses got egos too. Be careful. Friend of the show, Voice of Reason, at the clinically insane ESPN network, had some sarcastic remarks for his bosses as news broke that Rich Eisen and his show will be returning to the network. It's airing at the same exact time as the Pat McAfee show, leaving McAfee wondering if his bosses are trying to send him a message. I don't know. Learning Rich Eisen coming back to ESPN, I'm a big fan of Rich. Rich has been very nice to me, very cool to me. He's going live noon to 3 Eastern. That feels very interesting. Pat's live noon to 3. But I also love Rich Eisen, so I am cool with whatever. Noon to 3 is fascinating for sure. Is that a message? I don't know, but yeah, cool, whatever. No, Pat ain't cool with it. One thing Pat understands better than anybody is the business of this business. And he knows that that's a type of message. He knows that that is a backup plan because here's the situation. There has to be, and I don't know this, I haven't even texted with Pat in a long time, but there has to be something going on in the background. I don't think ESPN is trying to, quote, strengthen its position by bringing Rich Eisen in. I don't even know, is Rich Eisen a popular guy? I don't know. I know who Rich Eisen is. I don't know. I've never been on his show. I've never listened to his show. I know he runs the 40 in a suit, slowly, faster than I could, though, but I'm old. But there's definitely something here between Pat and the freaking network. Definitely. Wait for it. They can't lose him. He has made their iconic brand, Game Day, back to where it was. He's made it interesting when it's now in transition with Saban coming in, Corso going out. Pat's made that, and that's important to ESPN. McAfee's tone vacillated between humorous and passive-aggressive. But it seemed clear he feels some type of way about the Eisen situation, although he insinuated he played a role in helping reunite the longtime NFL personality with the worldwide leader. He also spent much of the segment casting a jaundiced eye at their respective shows remaining in a shared time slot. Well, things at ESPN don't happen immediately, so we'll see. Maybe they'll move Rich. Maybe I don't even know anymore. We all used to know who was on ESPN radio. I have no idea. None. Who is on what time? Who is where? None. Zero zip. Nada. Maybe. Pat ain't moving. I can guarantee you that. Maybe, just maybe. Rich Eisen is at some point to ESPN radio. Who knows? Don't really care. We got beef. Skip Bayless is calling out Tom Brady, claiming Brady is full of shit. Woo! And he believes Brady vetoed the Raiders ownership group from selecting Shedeur Sanders during the draft. Wait a second. Tom Brady is supposedly Shedeur Sanders' guy. What? What are we doing? Brady last week denied ever being part of the evaluation process with the Raiders brass regarding Shedeur. I ain't buying that. I'm sorry. There's no chance I'm buying that Tom Brady is owning a team, part owner of a team, understands quarterbacks, understands winning, and you're not going to have some say in evaluating whether or not you take a quarterback. Bullshit. No, I said it. I meant it. I won't forget it. That's total crap. Complete crap. Brady absolutely had to have a part. Brady is not the kind of guy that stands over there while everybody's doing this, particularly when it comes to football, particularly when it comes to something he knows he loves and he knows part of his legacy is tied. I know Michael Jordan's lack of ownership skills with the Charlotte Hornets didn't hurt his legacy, but you don't want to go through that. And I'm not saying Bayless is ever right, but what I am saying is probably not wrong here. Here's Brady on Shedeur's draft.
Elephant in the room, Shedeur Sanders. What happened, Tom? Why did he go so late in the draft?
It's a good question. I wasn't a part of any evaluation process or
Skip Bayless says
that.
otherwise.
No. Well, everyone's got that's the problem with media is everyone can just say whatever the fuck they want. I actually texted Shedeur because I know him very well. And I said, dude, whatever happens, wherever you go, that's your first day. Day 2 matters more than the draft. I was 199.
Yeah.
So who could speak on it better than me? What that really means. Yeah. Use it as motivation. You're going to get your chances. Go take advantage of it.
Yeah, he's right, but he's wrong. There's no way he wasn't a part of it. Skip Bayless fires back at Brady.
So I fired back at Tom Brady, pointing out that Spytek, his former teammate at Michigan, had said before the draft that the Raiders would be fools not to ask Tom Brady, now Raiders owner, about quarterbacks they were considering in the draft. They'd be absolute fools not to ask Tom Brady about quarterbacks. I mean, Brady's the obvious GOAT. How many times have I said that on the airwaves over the last 10 years? And which quarterback obviously was the most debated quarterback, I think, in any draft ever? Well, that was Deion's son, Shador, the same quarterback Tom Brady had mentored and coached since he was, I think, a sophomore in high school. So Tom Brady wants us to believe his good friend Spytek, who also was an executive with the Bucs when Tom won the Super Bowl down in Tampa, that GM of the Raiders wouldn't ask him as a Raiders owner one thing about Shador? Yeah, right, Tom. And you didn't fumble on that tuck rule play and maybe cost Al Davis a Super Bowl. Come on, man. Nobody knew more about Shador than you did, Tom. That's tangibly and intangibly. I mean, you spent so much time around the kid. And let's just face up to it. You obviously vetoed that kid to Spytek. I mean, the Raiders passed on Shador 7 times before Cleveland owner Jimmy Haslam overruled his executives and his coaches, and Haslam took Shador with the 144th overall pick in the 5th round.
I got to tell you, I'm with Skip Bayless on this. Every year I get calls from NBA executives, guys that I know in the NBA, and they ask me about players. And, last year I'm like, I didn't watch that much. I don't really know. I want to help you, but you're telling me that his friends aren't asking Tom Brady about that? Are you insane? Of course they're asking Tom Brady. Of course they're talking about Tom Brady. And, of course, Brady did not like Shador Sanders. And here's the deal. I don't blame Skip Bayless for calling this out, and I don't blame Brady. Brady doesn't want to be seen as racist because right now everybody's on the clock for racist. Everybody. I mean, if Shador Sanders doesn't make the team, see, Cleveland Browns are racist despite having a black general manager and obviously a foreign owner. You know how this works. We all know how this works. Brady doesn't need that. Brady can go about his business, surviving being happy-go-lucky Tom Brady, but actually being a god-awful human being, as his roast indicated. Brady's a terrible human being. I mean, all you got to do is watch that roast. He took out PPE loans. He cheated his ass off. I mean, damn. Anyway, I ain't mad at nobody. But what do they say? Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. I know the deal here. No, I know the absolute deal here. Hey, Davey, what do you think? Yes or no? Tom Brady vetoed Shador Sanders or Tom Brady? What's more likely? Tom Brady vetoed Shador Sanders or Tom Brady wasn't even asked about Shador Sanders?
No, I think he was definitely asked. I wouldn't say I believe he vetoed it. If he was adamant that he wanted that guy to be a future Las Vegas Raider, he would have said, I want this. But I think he's going to let John Spytek kind of make things happen. It's a team, they went and they traded for Geno Smith this offseason. They got Pete Carroll, who he wanted as their quarterback. And again, the entire conversation, like, had they not made that trade for Geno Smith, they might have been a team that wanted to go do it. But we've talked about how Shador Sanders is not a guy that you really want to have be the backup. Dan, can you name a backup quarterback that you want taking away the headlines from your starter that's a distraction in the background?
Maybe Daniel Jones if he doesn't. But it's like that's not the question you asked me, though. I'm giving you a bad answer because the backup quarterback is always the guy you want after the fact. I don't need all this with Shador Sanders. Yeah, so to your point, yes. No, I can't. But I do know this in Indy, if Daniel Jones is the quarterback, everybody going to be rooting for him except with one eye on Anthony Richardson. Or if Anthony Richardson's the quarterback, everybody going to be rooting for him except with one eye on Daniel Jones. But that's not the question. I know that's not the question you asked. No, I don't need all, unless I think Shedeur Sanders is a successful starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't need his bullshit. I don't need the bullshit of the media. I don't need the bullshit of his dad. I don't need any of it. I don't need being called racist just because the guy didn't become a starter. Who the hell needs that? I don't need that.
And just from a football standpoint, too, when you look at the Raiders and what they need, that's a team that had a lot of needs this past offseason. Pete Carroll, he's not a spring chicken anymore. I mean, that's a guy, he's obviously coming into coach, but you look at him, it's like he's wanting to win now. And I think there were a lot better options on the table whenever they were on the clock than going with Shedeur Sanders at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. Hey, Rory McIlory, he admitted that actually he's revealing why he has not watched or has avoided watching his emotional Masters triumph before going on to state that he feels he has accomplished everything he ever wanted in golf, and everything from here on out is just a bonus. Yeah, you could tell when he was doing that walk after the Masters, that was relief. That was joy, but that was relief. There's a lot of relief that comes with winning when the pressure is on, like it has been for Rory McIlory to get that Masters win. I tried not to watch it a lot because I want to remember the feeling. And I think when I rewatch a lot of things back, I then just remember the visuals of the TV rather than what I was feeling and what I was seeing through my own eyes. So I haven't tried to watch it back too much, but anytime I have, I well up. I still feel like I want to cry. I've never felt a release like that before. And I might never feel a release like that again. That could be a once-in-a-lifetime thing and a very cool moment. That's right. No, that's exactly right. I mean, hey, that is a relief. I'll never forget. Coach at Penn State, I think it was Bruce Parkhill. We were talking one day. He was the head coach at Penn State. I was an assistant in Indiana. He was going to retire. And I said, why are you retiring? He said, winning isn't fun. Winning is not fun. It's just, I don't know, it's just a relief. And losing is killing me, and he's right. McIlroy says, look, I've achieved everything that I've wanted. I've done everything I've wanted to do in the game. I've dreamed as a child of becoming the best player in the world, winning all the majors. I've done that. Everything beyond this, for however long I decide to play the game competitively, is a bonus. Yeah. I mean, it's what Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, and those guys had to make up different goals. Like Rory McIlroy had to make up, be the first player to do what? I don't know. Win the Masters 4 times in a row. I don't know. But he needs to make up goals for himself, or else he is. If you are not 1,000% committed on the PGA Tour, you're going to get run over. And I do mean run over. Hey, I feel like I won a national championship. Hell yeah. Friend of the show, college basketball icon Dickie V. Great news the other night. Scans, blood work, came back. He is officially cancer-free. Let's hear from Dickie V.
Hi, everybody. Think I down well. I just got my report from Dr. Rick Brown. Yes, the report came in about my scan I took yesterday and my blood work. I am ecstatic. I'm on cloud 9. He said the blood work was perfect. And he also said 4 words you'll love to hear. You're cancer-free, baby. Wow. I can't believe it. I really am so excited. It brought me to tears when he delivered it. Because as cancer patients, that call is nerve-wracking time. It's life-changing. He says, you got cancer, it's back, radiation, chemo. But I'm on cloud 9, celebration time tonight. Yes, sir, I'm going to have a great Italian dinner, man. I feel like I won a national championship. Yeah.
Oh, gee. You got to love Dickie V. Yeah. You got to love him. Vitale, our friend, had a long road to return back to ESPN broadcast booth this past season, missing the 2022-23 season and the 23-24 season with multiple bouts with cancer. First, vocal cord cancer that required radiation, and later with cancer in his lymph nodes that were removed from surgery. I'm so happy for Dickie V. I do. He's such a good dude. He really is a good dude. I get it. Some people get tired. You get tired of him. I'm going to love him up. My Colts delete schedule release video. after mocking opponents, including Tyreek Hill in an arrest. The race for attention among people running the social media accounts for NFL teams is heated as the league released their schedule yesterday, and there is the Coast Guard arresting Tyreek Hill. It's pretty good, but that got the Indy folks in trouble. Why? I mean, if you're going to get arrested every other day, you might as well make fun of it. What's the problem? Racist. Shut up. Colts deleted their Minecraft-themed schedule release video within an hour of debuting it on the X platform Wednesday night. Club has not said why the video is deleted and is gone from more views. Well, the video is deleted because it shows the Coast Guard pulling up and arresting Miami Dolphins, who they play in the opening game of the year, Tyreek Hill. I mean, that's what Tyreek Hill does. He gets arrested, doesn't he? Richard Sherman, Tyreek Hill, Marshawn Lynch. It's what they do. It all goes back. I'm telling you, it all goes back to Dodgers pitcher Steve Howe. It's always the same person. It is. Don't at me about it. We know it is. Hey, speaking of the same people, kind of saw this coming. In fact, I bet it. Hey, Davey, you surprised the Celtics got it done last night in a big way against the Knicks?
I'm not surprised they won. I am surprised in the deciding manner. Where are you at, Dan? Does this go to a Game 7?
No. I think the Knicks win back in New York. I do. But having said that, I'm not surprised. Look, people are going to say, heart of the champion, blah. Oh, shut up. It's hard to win in Boston Garden. I know Jason Tatum was out, but it's hard to win. And the Celtics beat that ass. Vegas was smart. I'm telling you, Vegas put the Celtics at a 5.5-point favorite. And I bet you Vegas cleaned up last night because people had to be looking at that going, no way, no Jason Tatum. No, Davey, I'm not surprised. They hit 22 of 49 threes. And that's what the Celtics can do. If the Celtics do that again, they're going to win the next game and the next game. But I don't think they can do it again in the Garden.
I agree with you.
I don't think so.
Quick tidbit, Dan, you brought up Vegas. One of this really hits home for the NBA, and it's a trend I try to keep up with, especially during the regular season. But usually, like, let's say you have a star like Jason Tatum that's going to be out. The first game after a star misses, always take the team to cover because everyone's looking to step up. And that first game afterwards, they're usually in a position where everyone takes their game to the next level. Now, like you said, that's something that's generally not able to be a multi-game or even an extended period trend, but just that first game back, that's something I always keep an eye out for.
I say it all the time. First game back for a player that's injured. First game back for a player that's been suspended. First game back in college basketball. A lot of guys used to get eligible at the semester. First game back. You are so right about that. Timberwolves beat pretty much the hapless Golden State Warriors. They beat the crap out of them yesterday. I think the Warriors' championship run is over. Obviously, no Steph Curry in this, but the team itself, you got young, athletic group led by Anthony Edwards, but you can't deny that Rudy Gobert is a big problem. Rudy Gobert is pretty damn good, and everybody around Rudy Gobert makes fun of Rudy Gobert. And I'm not even going to get into the points that Rudy Gobert scored, even though he was 8 for 9. But Rudy Gobert guards, and then you got and he's unselfish, and you got all these guys around him that are pretty athletic. Mike Conley's old as me. I mean, damn, they got a nice team. They got a nice team. When we come, what's that?
I was just going to say, I'm really surprised Julius Randle's been able to elevate his game as of late, especially in the postseason, given where he started out early in his career.
Man, he dropped 29 on 18 shots, man. That's pretty good. He dropped 29 going 13 of 18. You could argue that he was by far the star of stars, as Vitale used to say, in that series. Justin Termini, Sirius XM, NBA Radio, at Termini Radio, host 4 to 7 on the NBA channel on Sirius. Is going to join. We're going to talk about it.